Good morning, dear students. In today's video, I am going to explain you the topic sex determination. And first let us understand what exactly sex determination is. And here I have written the simplest definition for sex determination, that is, sex determination is the process by which sexuality of an organism is decided. And it was a great mystery. Usually whenever fertilization occurs, some zygotes they develop into male babies and some zygotes develop into female babies, and what is the reason behind this was a mystery, and this mystery was revealed by this process called sex determination. So let me repeat, what is sex determination? It is the process by which the sexuality of an organism is decided. And when does usually sex determination occurs? Sex determination occurs at the time of fertilization. So sex determination occurs at the time of fertilization before the birth. So that is naturally, students should remember, in most of the organisms with very few exceptions, sex determination occurs at the time of fertilization before the birth, and sex determination is chromosomal. And today we know, we always talk about two chromosomes called X chromosome and Y chromosome. So simply I can tell you, X and Y are the two primary sex chromosomes which were discovered. So the two primary chromosomes responsible for sex determination were named as X and Y. And discovery of X chromosome, so the credit of discovery of X chromosome goes to Henking. So students should remember, X chromosome was discovered by Henking, and whereas Y chromosome was discovered by Stevens. And these X and Y chromosomes usually were discovered by studying the process of spermatogenesis in insects. As we know, spermatogenesis, the process of production of sperms within the seminiferous tubules of the testis, is called spermatogenesis. And Henking, when studied the process of spermatogenesis in insects, Henking could able to see a large unknown body only in 50% of the sperms, and in remaining 50% of the sperms, that large unknown body was absent. And this large unknown body which was present in 50% of the sperms was later identified as X chromosome, and the next sex chromosome discovered by Stevens, it is named as Y chromosome. So this is how the two primary chromosomes responsible for sex determination were discovered, that is X chromosome and Y chromosome. Usually you can remember, the two primary sex chromosomes were discovered while studying the process of spermatogenesis in insects. The types of sex determination discussed in the syllabus, totally 4 types of sex determination are mentioned, and students, here you can see I have classified them on a particular criteria. In textbook they have given like XX, XY method, XX, XO method, but I have given a particular criteria for this. Means I have written 4 types like this, that is XX, XY method, ZW, ZZ method, next XX, XO method, ZO, ZZ method. So first 2 you can see, XX, XY method, ZW, ZZ method. So here these 2 are the types of sex determination based on difference in type of the chromosome. So with this it is very clear. Let us take human example only. In humans, whether male or female, 2n is equals to 46 only. So there is no difference in number of chromosomes from males to females. But difference comes with what? Type of the sex chromosome. So on that criteria, I have written XX, XY method, ZW, ZZ method. And later you can see here XX, XO method, ZO, ZZ method, where O indicates absence of the chromosome. So these 2 are based on difference in number of chromosomes. First 2 are not difference in number. It is based on difference in type of the chromosome, and the next two are difference in number of chromosome. For example, third type if you see XX-XO method, here example grasshopper and cockroach. In cockroach, 2n is equals to 46 and that is applicable only to the female cockroach. In female cockroach only 2n is equals to 46, whereas in male cockroach 2n is equals to 45 only. So what does it mean? In 23rd pair of cockroach, only one copy of X chromosome is present. So like this, hope you understand. I have classified 4 types of sex determination. First 2 types are based on difference in type of the sex chromosome, and in next 2 types difference in number of the chromosomes. So now let us see the 4 types. First type of sex determination is XXXY method. Example according to the textbook, in humans and Drosophila, that is nothing but fruit fly. So in humans and Drosophila, the type of sex determination is XXXY method. And one more thing students should remember. So sex of the offspring is decided by heterogametic sex of the species. So we call this as a theory. Theory of heterogamety. Theory of heterogamety was given by Karl Correns. What is this theory tells us? Theory of heterogamety always explains that sex of the offspring is determined by heterogametic parent. So with that it is very clear. XXXY method. So if you look into human sex determination, in humans, female 22 pairs of autosomes, and in the 23rd pair 2 copies of X chromosomes are present. So that's why human female always produce only one type of female gamete, that is ovum. In 100% of the ova, 22 autosomes plus 1 copy of X chromosome is present. But human males are not like that. How the sperms are? Sperms can be of 2 types here. 50% of the sperms carry 22 autosomes plus a copy of X chromosome, and remaining 50% of the sperms carry 22 autosomes plus a copy of Y chromosome. So 50% of the sperms carry X copy of chromosome, remaining 50% of the sperms carry Y copy of chromosome. So with this it is very clear, in humans and Drosophila, who is producing only one type of gamete? Female. So that's why female is homogametic. And who is producing? Which parent is producing 2 different types of gametes? Male parent. So that's why male parent is heterogametic. So this is the theory. We call it theory of heterogamety given by Karl Correns. What this theory tells us? Sex of the offsprings is always determined by heterogametic parent. So I am repeating this because usually in NEET and CET questions are asked like that. Like in birds, which parent is homogametic? In moths, which parent is heterogametic? Such type of questions are asked. To avoid confusion, students should always write the chromosomal arrangement of female parent first and male parent next, so that you can easily remember. When it is XXXY, you know female is homogametic, male is heterogametic. And let us go with next type. It's very simple. Next type, you see ZWZZ method. Example, birds and reptiles. I already told you. First I have written female chromosomal arrangement. Next I have written male chromosomal arrangement. With this it is very clear. In birds and reptiles, female is heterogametic because 50% of the X carry Z chromosome, next 50% carry W, but 100% of the sperms carry only Z chromosome. So in birds and reptiles, which parent decides the sex of the offspring? Female parent will decide because female is heterogametic. And coming up with next 2 types, XXXO method, it is very clear. Example, grasshopper and cockroach. Not only in this, in most of the insects, the type of sex determination is called XXXO method. You can see here clearly. So who is homogametic? Once again, female parent is homogametic and male parent is heterogametic. But what is the difference here? You can, if you look into sex determination of cockroach or grasshopper, only in 50% of the sperm sex chromosome is present and remaining 50% carry only autosomes. So with that it is very clear who is determining the sex of the offspring here? Sperm, and sperm is produced by the male parent. So in grasshopper and cockroach, male parent is heterogametic, female parent is homogametic. And coming to the fourth type, ZOZZ, observed in butterflies and moths. It is very clear. First chromosomal arrangement of female nerve, I have written ZO, O indicates no chromosome. So in butterflies and moths, which parent is heterogametic? Female parent is heterogametic, male parent is homogametic. So that's why in butterflies and moths, female parent, that is the ovum, determines sex of the offspring. In grasshoppers and cockroach, male parent, that is sperm, determines sex of the offspring. In birds and reptiles, once again female parent is heterogametic. In humans and Drosophila, male parent is heterogametic. So I want to conclude by telling you theory of heterogamety given by Carl Correns explains us sex of the offsprings is always determined by heterogametic parent of the species. And that theory is very important. And which parent is homogametic, which parent is heterogametic, and for all four types, remembering with examples according to NCERT textbook is very important. One more special type of sex determination discussed in the syllabus, that is haplodiploidy type of sex determination in honeybees, or simply we can call this as haplodiploidy in honeybees, and it's very important for competitive exams. One of the very special type of sex determination which is based on difference in number of sets of chromosomes. And if you remember, just before I said like XXXY method, XXXO method, so ZWZZ method, etc. But here sex of the offspring is determined by difference in set, and we know that we represent one set of chromosomes as N and two sets of chromosomes we represent it as 2N. So like that. So when the sex is determined based on difference in number of sets of chromosomes, that is a special case which is observed in honeybees. And you know the most common Indian honeybee scientific name is Apis indica, and we can see what is that speciality and what is this special type of sex determination which is called haplodiploidy. And in honeybees, females only are diploid. That's why I have written female honeybee which is diploid in nature, and in female honeybee 2N is equals to 32, means it comprises of 16 pairs of chromosomes. In each set 16 chromosomes are present, whereas male honeybees are haploid in nature. So that's why see I have written male honeybees being haploid in nature. In their genome they have only one set of chromosome, that is N is equals to 16. So students remember, in honeybees only females are diploid in nature, whereas males are haploid in nature. So what does it mean? Only females carry two sets of chromosomes, whereas males contain only one set of chromosome. And here you can easily understand now, female honeybees diploid in nature, that's why they produce the gametes by the process of meiosis, and each gamete once again which is haploid, that is N is equals to 16. These are the two female gametes produced. And here you can see the speciality, male honeybee is already haploid in nature, so it cannot produce the gametes by meiosis. Now it produces the gametes by mitosis. Very important point. Male honeybees produce the gametes by mitosis. Why male honeybees produce gametes by mitosis? Because they are already haploid in nature. So now here is the sperm, N is equals to 16. Here are the two female gametes, that is ova, where N is equals to 16. Now you can see when this ovum is fertilized by the sperm. So when the ovum is fertilized by the sperm, now what is formed? The zygote is formed, and the zygote, once again, 2n is equals to 32, and zygotes always develop into what? Female honeybees. So with this it is very clear. Here I said female honeybees are diploid in nature. Why the female honeybees are diploid in nature? Female honeybees are produced from the fertilized eggs. That's why they are diploid in nature. But whereas you can see here, this is an ovum. Ovum is directly developing into a young male honeybee without fertilization, and this process is called parthenogenesis. So students, parthenogenesis is a special phenomena in which the young ones are produced from the unfertilized eggs. So usually young ones or the next generation offsprings are produced from the fertilized eggs, but in some special cases young ones are directly produced from unfertilized eggs. The process of production of offsprings or the process of production of young ones from the unfertilized eggs is called parthenogenesis, and here you can see that phenomena in honeybees. Male honeybees are haploid in nature. If someone asks you why male honeybees are haploid in nature, reason is this. How the male honeybees are produced? Male honeybees are directly produced from unfertilized eggs, and what do you call this process? Parthenogenesis. And students should remember what type of parthenogenesis it is. An additional information I am writing on the board, so which is not given in the textbook. If the question is asked, the type of parthenogenesis occurring in honeybees it is called arenotochy. Arenotochy is a type of parthenogenesis in which unfertilized eggs develop only into males, isn't it? So in honeybees, unfertilized eggs never develop into females. Unfertilized eggs always develop into males. So in a type of parthenogenesis, when unfertilized eggs develop only into males, that condition is called arenotochy. So students should remember the type of parthenogenesis in honeybees is called arenotochy. Other two types of parthenogenesis will be there. For your information, I am telling you, remember, if an unfertilized egg develop only into female, that is called thelytochy. When an unfertilized egg can develop into either male or female, that is called amphitochy. So with this, total parthenogenesis is of how many types? 3 types. Arenotochy, thelytochy, amphitochy. What is arenotochy? Unfertilized egg develop only into male. What is thelytochy? Unfertilized egg develops only into female. What is amphitochy? Unfertilized egg may develop into either male or female. But honeybees, what is happening? Unfertilized eggs are developing always into males. Hence, which type of parthenogenesis? Arenotochy. And finally, I want to conclude by saying one statement which is given in the NCERT textbook. Male honeybees are always said to be having only grandfathers and grandsons. Male honeybees never possess fathers and sons. Male honeybees are said to be having only grandfathers and grandsons. Why is it so? It is very clear. From where the male honeybee is produced? From the unfertilized egg. So that's why here male is not involved in the production of a male honeybee. So that's why always you have to remember, here the male honeybee is produced from what? Ovum. But ovum is produced from whom? Female honeybee. So for the production of female, what is required? Male is required. So that's why male honeybees are always said to be having only grandfathers and grandsons, but they cannot have fathers and sons. So this is a special type of sex determination, that is haplodiploidy, which is observed only in the honeybees. With this, the topic sex determination is completed. Thank you.